Hello everyone. If you ask any bodybuilding fan who among the athletes of the past or present represents the embodiment of athletic longevity, I am sure that most will name one name, Dexter Jackson. Many of his peers are already nursing grandchildren in retirement, and he still hasn't had enough of playing with the hardware. Dexter first appeared on the Olympia stage, it's scary to say, back in the last century, and he didn't make his debut then as a boy at the age of 30. Of the 15 guys who stood in the same line with him at that time, all have long since retired, and 2 are no longer alive at all. And only Dexter, more than 20 years later, continued to remain, if not at the top, then somewhere near, although in his 50s it was essentially the same thing. Dexter Tyrone Jackson was born on November the 25th, 1969 in Jacksonville, Florida. His story began quite traditionally, like many other future bodybuilding stars. The skinny but very athletic teenager showed promise in almost all sports. At school, Dexter was actively involved in various sports, but when he moved to high school, he stopped running. Even then, he began to set records, running the 40-meter distance in 4.2 seconds and the 100-meter in 10.5 seconds. Jackson's main passion was American football, but Dexter got married early and almost immediately had a couple of children. Of course, I had to stop going to college and playing for the local football team and think about finding a job, and then the guy got stuck. Instead of becoming a manager and making money, for example, he got it into his head that he would definitely become a great bodybuilder. Colleagues in the gym almost immediately noted Jackson's good qualities, but it took 6 months to persuade the guy to try to compete in the championship of his hometown of Jacksonville. To his considerable surprise and delight, Jackson, who at 168 centimeters tall, weighed only 61.5 kilograms, won. Having gained 3 kilograms of weight the following year, Dexter tried his hand at a steeper level, the championship of the Southern States, and took 3rd place there. For any other beginner, such a result would be a great success, but not for Jackson. He was so upset that he returned to the podium only in 1994, putting up 75 kilograms at that time. They couldn't help but give him the 1st place back then. The next step was the U.S. National Championship, but in order to get there and not become a laughingstock, you had to become much bigger, and he succeeded. Dexter's performance at the 1995 U.S. Championships had the effect of an exploding bomb. The 84-kilogram debutant made many veteran masters and went home with the cup for the 1st place. However, starting 2 months later at the National Championships, Jackson failed miserably, failing to get into the top 15 in his category. "I still don't understand what the problem was with the confusion," Jackson recalled this unpleasant episode in his biography. "After all, I looked the same as I did at the last start where I won. Anyway, I had to give up the dream of turning pro for 3 long years. Those were difficult times. Sometimes I didn't even have enough money for food. There was no furniture in the apartment I rented. I had to put up with it all," Jackson admitted. Only his victory at the North American Championships in 1998 opened the door for Dexter to join the elite of the bodybuilding world. And that's when the 84-kilogram native of Florida finally realized that if he was going to somehow succeed in competing with monsters like Ronnie Coleman, Nasser El Sonbati, or Paul Dillett, he needed to build a new mass and in record time. And at the Arnold Classic competition in February '99, Dex appeared with an unprecedented weight of 93 kilograms and ousted many stars, finishing in 7th place. And then in the fall, there was the Olympia and the 9th place. After that, the trampling began. 2000, 9th place, 2001, 8th. But then everything changed dramatically. "When I started rocking, Sean Ray was my idol," Jackson recalled. "I liked his build and the image he creates on stage, as well as the way he manages to build his business and the fact that he is always in shape." Of course, Dexter didn't look exactly like Sean, but the judges didn't seem to need a second Ray. But in 2001, Sean Ray left, and Dexter immediately took his place. In 2002, he was 4th at the Olympia and 1st at the British Grand Prix. In 2003, he was the 3rd at the Olympia and the 1st at the Power Show. Dexter gets Chris Cormier, Kevin Levrone, and even Jay Cutler. And then there was a black streak, a divorce from his wife and with Olympia. It all started with the introduction of the challenge round at Olympia. After the end of the main competitions, the athletes had to be compared one-on-one, that is in fact challenge each other to a duel in their favorite poses. Jackson was wary of the innovation. At the 2004 Olympia, the challenge round played a cruel joke on Dexter. As a result, he lost to Gustavo Badell, who had already won, and angrily announced that he would no longer set foot on the Olympia. From now on, the Arnold Classic tournament becomes a priority. In 2005 and 2006, he managed to lift Arnold's sculpture over his head, the prize for the first place. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. In 2006, Jackson was seriously scared. I got nervous when Branch Warren won the prize for maximum muscularity because whoever won this prize had won the show before. That's exactly what happened to me a year ago, which is why I was shaking so badly. Actually, the preparation was an ordeal for Jackson. 6 weeks before the tournament, intruders abducted his ex-wife. It couldn't help but unsettle him. It doesn't matter if we're together or not, Carol and I will always remain close friends. I will always love her and she will always love me. After all, we have a daughter together, Dexter confessed. Fortunately, everything worked out then and Dexter returned to Olympia. He returned to claim the title for himself in 2008. It looked incredible at the time. Everyone is already used to serial champions. Coleman won for 8 years in a row, but then Cutler beat him and it seemed his time had come. But the judges did not spare him. He took only second place, and Dexter Jackson won to the enthusiastic roar of the audience. He had a name on his side, experience of participation, getting into the top 10 of the Olympia, and most importantly, an almost complete absence of weaknesses. Dexter looked equally good from the front, the side, and the back. From the back, he just destroyed everyone. It seemed that Jackson had increased in volume, became juicier, rounder, exposing a very decent relief. In fact, at that time he weighed 107 kilograms. Dexter didn't look like a monster up close. Yes, very big, lumpy arms and shoulders, but the torso did not seem supermassive. In 2009, Cutler triumphantly won back, but Dexter Jackson will forever go down in Olympia history as one of its champions. Meanwhile, the results of Jackson Olympia's performances began to decline. The third, the fourth, the sixth. It seemed that the veteran was slowly winding down and preparing to retire, but in 2012, he fired again. But how? By joining forces with super trainer Charles Glass, Jackson has put on a nuclear form that he never had even in his youth. Of course, he did not fight for the first place, but in the podium after the Olympia semi-final, honored athletes, experts, and coaches gave him an ovation. Dexter was congratulated as if he had won. He eventually finished fourth, beating monsters like Branch Warren and Dennis Wolf. It was worth a lot at the Olympia in 2013 and the fifth again a year later. However, he continued to win regularly at the Arnold Classic and in lower-ranked tournaments. But in 2015, there was a new explosion. At the Olympia, 45-year-old Dexter fought on equal terms with Phil Heath and finished second. And that year, he took as many as 3 Arnold Classic champion titles in America, Australia, and Europe, on all continents. Jackson's winning streak continued in 2016, third place at the Olympia and 4 tournaments won. It seemed like he could go on forever. No wonder Flex Wheeler once joked that in his old age he would sit in a rocking chair and watch Dexter's performances on TV. After that, Jackson began to retreat a little, realizing that you can't go against age. Although Dexter won the Tampa Pro Tournament a month before the Olympia and won the 29th title of his career, fans were seriously talking about the fact that he could take the Olympia again. Of course, it would be a very beautiful story, especially since the 2019 Olympia was supposed to be the 20th anniversary of his endless long career. But the super veteran took only 4th place and set another of his many records which are unlikely to ever be broken. Dexter is a participant of 21 Olympia and 92 pro tournaments, winner of 29 professional competitions and 9 Arnold Classic tournaments. In 2020, 50-year-old Jackson realized that he was unlikely to win the Olympics and attempted to win his 10th Arnold Classic title and win the 30th tournament of his career. there wasn't much left. Old Dexter became the second, defeating the huge Big Ramy, who 6 months later was proclaimed Mr. Olympia. Not bad at all for a 50-year-old pensioner, right? What was the secret of Dexter Jackson's victories? Despite the fact that he was never considered a monster of mass, he had 54 centimeters of arms, pressed 197 kilograms for 6 repetitions, and squatted 260 kilograms for 6 times. "I just have a reactive metabolism," Jackson confessed. "I have to eat all the time in order not to lose weight." But there is an advantage in this. It consists in the fact that no one knows when I will shoot. For many guys, it becomes clear in advance that they are rigidly dieting and preparing for the tournament. Well, 6 weeks is enough for me to prepare, so the surprise factor has always been on my side. Flex Wheeler and Chris Cormier are my seniors and mentors in learning the wisdom of professional sports. They gave me a lot of valuable advice at the time, Jackson confessed. Well, we're friends with Dennis James. Once I came to visit him in Thailand, and he opened the doors of his house to me as if he were the owner. We often performed on the same stage, then he beat me, then I beat him. That's our sport. Dexter is now retired, enjoying life without a strict diet and exercise schedule. I like being retired, as if a mountain has been lifted from my shoulders. I'm not trying to get bigger, and for me, 2 or 3 meals a day is already amazing. Just being able to not eat every 2 fucking hours is amazing to me. Dexter is a great bodybuilder, a genetic miracle, as many experts have nicknamed it, and his legacy and his records will live on for a very long time. As always, I will be grateful for your support. It helps in the development of the channel. Please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications about the release of new videos, and thank you for watching. Sports Guru was with you. See you later.